best podcast on the planet.
Okay, so I probably need to start this episode of the podcast with a warning. Yeah,
a disclaimer of sorts.
Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. A disclaimer. Attention. The following podcast is being produced without adult supervision. Normally, Miss Holly joins us for these podcasts, and I mean, let's be honest. She does act as a moderating presence, and she keeps the boys from going off on a rail too often. So let me give you a little bit of background. Dale and I started doing radio. Can you guess how long it is that we've been doing radio?
Let's see, did we start in 2006?
Five. Yeah, I think it was 2005, maybe 6. So, okay, it's been almost 15 years, give or take 15 years.
Oh.
All right. And so it started when we were doing this little tiny know-nothing show for a radio station called WTWB 1570. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 1570 AM in Auburndale, Florida. And I think the best shows that we ever did are the ones where we took our show notes and went, oh, this is what we're supposed to be talking about, not doing it today, and just went off the rails. But see, the problem was that sometimes the management was like, you can't do that. That's not radio. That's not how it's supposed to be done. So I just thought, you know what, let's get together and have a little bit of fun this afternoon or tonight, whatever time it is you're watching the show. So I got started being interested in radio with a radio show that Dale and I both used to listen to. Now, you and I went to separate high schools, right? You went to Kathleen, I went to Lakeland.
Yep.
All right, so we're supposed to be enemies. Whatever. Florida Gator, as far as colleges are concerned.
Georgia Bulldogs. Natural mesh there.
Whatever. Okay, so we've got that to contend with. And when was it that we kind of started hanging out and being friends? I don't even remember. It's been that long.
I knew you through some other people, but we weren't friends yet. But I knew a guy that had your old drum set. Like, I saw your name that you had wrote on this old drum set.
Really?
Of his, and it was written on this guy's drum set. It said "Property of Seth Mila."
Seriously?
And it was like, yeah.
What color was the drum kit? Was it black?
It probably was. I can't know. It was a different color because your name was written on the drums, like in real neat writing or something. But
I don't remember ever writing my name in a drum kit.
Yeah.
Maybe I was planning to steal it from him, and I was just thinking ahead, going, "No, this isn't your drum. See, my name is in these drums." Dude, I don't remember. Was that John?
No, this guy. I don't even know you that I knew, but I knew this guy growing up, and I was over his house one day, and it said "Property of Seth Mila." I knew you, but we weren't really friends. We had acquaintances, and I saw you at a couple, this high school parties that you go to and stuff. You and I didn't start hanging out until I saw you at church one day. We were
right.
God, we had to be like 27 or 28, maybe.
Yeah, maybe
somewhere around there.
Maybe a little older, but somewhere. Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah.
Seth Mila.
How is you? I don't remember selling. I bought like a drum kit from a guy that was playing drums. This is hilarious. I bought a drum kit from a guy that was playing drums at this really bad band that was playing at a restaurant/lounge called the Foxfire.
I remember that place.
Remember the place? And I went out there one time and heard him play, went back a couple times, started talking to the drummer, and the next thing you know, I bought a drum kit from him. And I that must be the one that we're talking about. It may be.
It wasn't anything like
wild. I don't remember that
fancy or anything, but I remember just sitting in that guy's room, and it said "Property of Seth Mila," and I was like, I know that guy. Or I know of that guy. Yeah,
he's a jerk.
Yeah. Well, at the time, it's funny you mentioned that. At the time, you had little rivalries with these other guys that I did hang out with. You guys would play practical jokes on each other, and so just by association, I was supposed to hate you at the same time. But
Okay.
Who would have known we become like really good friends later and do radio together?
Well, see, now that's the way. See, that's the way things. That's how guys are, though. Guys will have a conflict, will duke it out, or yell at each other, or do something like that, and then the next thing you know, we end up being friends.
Yeah.
I had a friend. His name is Ward, and he and I met at the lunchroom in high school, and he was acting like an idiot. And
well, he still does that today.
well, I wasn't
Ward. If you're watching, I'm just kidding, man.
No, he's not. But he was acting like an idiot, and he was getting on my nerves, right? He was being immature and so forth, and just getting on my nerves. And I said something rather inappropriate to him. It was on. He and I started yelling at each other, and I think we literally came to blows there in the lunchroom. He punched me in the throat.
Oh, that's like against the rules, man.
Yeah, and it's like and he's at the time he was such a thin little wiry dude.
He was svelte, yeah.
Yeah, and my world went gray. And I'm like, "Oh, this is not good. This is not good." And he and I ended up, and I and another couple guys ended up being 4 best friends all through high school. You know, so that's how it goes. Okay, so
to be your friend, I'm going to have to throat punch you. That's what you're saying.
No, we've already gone through that. Okay, so you mentioned something. Welcome to memory lane. Okay, you mentioned this rivalry thing, right?
Yeah.
Do you know how that got started?
Was it the hubcaps?
It was
the hubcap lugs.
Lugs,
right?
Well, yes, that was my retaliation of what they did. All right. So, all right, sit down and get ready for this. This is a little bit of a lengthy story, but I'll try and make it concise. Right.
All right.
So I asked this girl out named Leslie. I will not use her last name because she's a friend of mine on Facebook, and I don't think her husband's probably going to enjoy this story. Anyway, asked Leslie out. I was surprised that she said yes. I was stunned. I'm like, now what do I do? So at the time, I was driving a little car, a Toyota Corona, right? So I picked her up. We went to a movie, and when we came out of the movie, my car was covered in Vaseline. And I don't mean just a little smear here and there. I mean the doors, all of the windows, the headlights, the hood. The car was covered in Vaseline. I knew who did it. It was that group of guys that Dale was just talking about.
Yeah, but I wasn't with it. I promise you I didn't.
You weren't there?
No.
I know now. Okay. So horribly embarrassed, just terribly embarrassed. I took Leslie home. By the way, that was our first and last date. I wonder why. So take her home. I went home. Can't drive my car because now dust is collecting on the windshield. You're trying to turn the windshield wipers on, and all it does is just smear Vaseline everywhere. So I went home and I got my mom's car, which was a really big beast of an automobile.
Land yacht.
Pretty much. And I went looking for the perpetrators, man. Well, I found them. They were walking around Lake Hollingsworth is in our town, and everybody, to see and be seen, everybody would walk the lake in the evenings.
Yeah.
Well, these characters had all gotten together. They parked in the parking lot, and they were walking around the lake, having a great time. I thought, they're walking, and they're about 1.5 miles away from their car. I have time. I went to their car, just happened to be a car very much like mine, and I popped off the hubcaps of all 4 wheels. I took all of the lug nuts off of all 4 wheels and put the hubcaps back on. Put all of the lug nuts in a little brown paper bag. Then I drove around to the other side of the lake where they had just arrived, got out of my car with the brown paper bag, and started walking with them. Hey, guys, how's it going? Oh, hey, man, how was the date? Oh, yeah, it's funny you should ask that. And here I am, chucking lug nuts into the lake one at a time as we're walking. Well, eventually the conversation is, dude, what are you doing? What is that? I said, oh, these are lug nuts. Really? And I take them all in my hand and I chuck them in the lake. I go, they're your lug nuts. Thanks for ruining my date. And I run, get back in my car, and that was it. Well, that started a practical joke war and ended the friendship. I wonder why. So that was the group that we're talking about. Now, here's the twist. You ready for this? I don't know if I've ever told you this. Have I told you the ending, the twist to this?
I don't know. If you did, I don't remember.
Just a few years ago, okay, we're talking plus 30 years out of high school, whatever, because this happened during high school time, right? So I'm with one of my very best friends who happens to be one of the guys that was in that group of 4 I just mentioned earlier. His name is Tim. And we're all sitting around. We'd had dinner. We'd had a couple drinks. We were just goofing around. And I shared that story of throwing the lug nuts. And he started laughing. He goes, "It wasn't them that did that to your car." I said, What do you mean it wasn't them? He goes, No. It was me and Ward. We did that to your car. I said, "Why would you do that? I was on a date. It was hilarious. We thought it was funny." So I never knew it was Tim. Thank you, dude, by the way, for at least finally admitting it to. I never knew it was Tim. We started this whole feud, this practical joke war that ended the friendship because I thought it was them and it wasn't.
Well, see, it fits their MO because I went out on a date one time, brand new car, and they had tied cans way underneath. And while I was in Bennigan's, they put Ben Gay under the doorknobs. So once you touch the Ben Gay, get the car is like a mentholated death tube.
So now they did something to me. I can't remember. I did that to them. They retaliated. I think they rolled my house, right, with toilet paper. The main perpetrator, who I thought it was, lived in a nice little house and had a cat. Okay, you know who I'm talking about?
Yep, I do.
Okay, his name was John. He had a cat. So I knew that there were times when he left the back door unlocked. So I went by an Albertsons grocery store and bought a 50-pound bag of generic cat litter and a gallon of maple syrup. So we took the sheets down from his bed. We filled his bed with the cat litter, left the sheets down. Okay. Then some of you are going to get really angry at this, but this was high school. You got to forgive me. We found the cat. We held the cat and we coated the cat with the maple syrup and let the cat go in the house. And then we left. So you can imagine, relaying the story now that I'm an adult, it's not as funny as it was when I was a kid.
I know. What if somebody done that to you? You'd be pissed.
Dude,
right now.
Can you imagine if my daughter Madison, if you're watching this, which I know you do, none of these are your ideas, my daughter. I would not be happy. I would not be happy at all.
Well, John's house was the party house because his parents were always gone. His dad was an electrician. I think he helped build Epcot and stuff like that. So he was always away. But I can remember one of his bathrooms, the toilet was torn up, and he told us, everybody, don't use that back toilet. What did everybody do?
We use that toilet.
Good, bad back toilet.
Oh, the horrible things that we did in high school, just the really stupid things. But yeah, then you and I moved to Montana after graduating high school. And so that's why we didn't hang out. We kind of knew each other from those party days. We kind of bumped into each other from the parties and so
hot beer party days. So when you're in high school,
whatever
there's to drink, you drink it.
And every party, every time we would go to his place, and he was like, "Hey man, you want to go to Blockbuster and rent a V8?" And it was always Shaun of the Dead or one of the zombie movies. Always, it was like always the same thing. It's like, dude, there's like 150 million other movies that we could rent. No, man, this is a classic. Okay, sure. What else am I going to do on a Friday evening or a Saturday evening? Oh man! All right. So did you leave to go to Georgia?
I did that later on. Like, it wasn't right after high school. I did it I think I was like 28 or 29 or something like that. And I for a year and a half moved to Georgia.
Why'd you go to Georgia?
I didn't go away to college, so I don't know. I had a midlife crisis already or something. I don't know.
Well, I went.
And it just so happened the people I work for had an opening, so I went and it just happened easily. Everything happened.
Did you like it?
I'd like to change the season, but
right.
it was back before computers and cell phones, so it was very
hard to stay it's hard to stay in touch with your family when all you can do is actually write a real letter, which nobody does anymore. When was the last time you wrote a real letter?
I couldn't tell you.
No.
Now I feel like I got arthritis in my thumb and I can't even write anymore hardly. So there goes that. I don't have that going for me anymore.
I actually had to stop, and I got zero sympathy from my wife and my daughter. I have a game called Forza 7. It's a racing game that I play on Xbox, and it's.
Is that why your thumb is messed up from that?
It's exactly why.
Mine could be from texting. I don't know. I mean,
but I got into this, I don't know, call it a championship or whatever, and it was a whole bunch of races that I had to do at one time, and I don't know, COVID or whatever, I just spent a lot of time goofing around on my Xbox playing the game. And the next thing you know, I told my wife, I said, man, my thumb is killing me. Right here, this joint, it's just really hurts. And she goes, well, I wonder why. What is it? And then I was playing the game, and the way I would hold the controller a certain way, I was like, man, I got to get that turn.
That's how I do when I that's why I suck at video games. I think this turns it. And I'm like,
and it was like, oh, so yeah, I got to adjust. So in other words, Dale and I have never grown up, ever. We are a certain age, and we have never, ever grown up. But I think there's a good part. I think there's a reason for that. Okay. I think it's good. Let me explain. We were just talking about this friend of ours, Ward, right? Ward has really legitimately, I don't think has really ever grown up. He's been kind of a kid his whole life, but there's an aspect to life that he still has that honestly, I don't have. You know what I mean? It gets beaten out of you, I guess. I'm not trying to be morose and downer and everything, but there's at a point, I was actually even reading a psychology thing about this, that one of the reasons that the midlife crisis happens is that guys like Dale and I, who have kind of goofed around and had a lot of fun most of our life and done things that would, adventurous in one way, shape, form, or fashion, you get to a point where there's no more new experiences. It's like, ooh, I'm going to travel out of state for the first time. Done it a lot. Ooh, we're going to fly for the first time. Done it. There's a lot of things that life rewards you with first time experiences. And by the time you get to our age, there aren't any more first time experience, or they're very, very few. And we start trying to do more and more to get that enjoyment back. And so one of the things I actually admire about Ward is he's got that, I don't know, that immature approach to life. He just enjoys and has fun.
I can remember the whole time, like, I don't know, maybe the end of the 80s and into the 90s, I was working, and I'm not going to say his job wasn't real, but he was a DJ. Like, he had a DJ service, and he actually did it in a club, a local bar or club or whatever.
I remember thinking, dude, when are you going to get a real job?
He had the mullet and everything. And
Yeah. Dude, didn't we all?
Oh, it wasn't a mullet. That was a surfer cut back then.
Thank you very much. It wasn't a mullet. We called it the surfer cut. That's right. But
even though we didn't surf.
No, but I went to Ron John Surf Shop a lot.
Or we ate surf and turf. That's about the only thing.
Oh yeah. I remember even talking to him. It's like, dude, when are you gonna get a real job? And here's the thing: he had his own gig long before I ever started a business.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And so there was a lot to that. There was a lot of things. All right, so let me ask you this: what is something? And I don't want to start the whole, hey, let's do a bucket list. Hey, Dale, you and I should go to Vegas sometime and lose all our money. No, no, that's not what I'm talking about. But what is something you've always wanted to do? What is something that you're just like, you know what? If I had the time and the money, I would just go do it right now.
That's a hard one because usually most people's bucket lists are like trips, places, and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was able to do one last year. I went to New York last year, and because you'd been several times, and I never got to go with you, but I enjoyed it.
I think New York is one of the best places on the planet. Not so much right now, but
Yeah.
soon it will be again.
I hope it returns. Yeah.
It will. It will. There's too much money being lost from tourism and so forth for New York not to pull their head out of their butt and go, okay, you know what? We need to get things back to normal as quick as possible. Anyway, so one of the things I want to do is I want to ride a motorcycle from San Diego all the way up the Pacific Coast Highway up to like Seattle. That's one of the things I definitely want to do. My last, I took a really cool motorcycle trip. I drove from Orlando, Florida to the Sturgis rally and then rode back. And rode with a real good friend of mine, met my brother in Sturgis, and we just had a blast. It was one of the best road trips ever, and it was great. And I want to do that again. That's one of the things I want to do. But
that's a pretty good one.
Do you find yourself, the couple 3 days ago, I rolled by the Harley shop, okay? And I was seriously thinking about it, man. I was really thinking, you know what? I haven't had a motorcycle in a long time. I think I want another bike. I really do. And I'm standing there, and it's hot. Now, keep in mind, my wife and I, we counted up all the cars and motorcycles I've had in my life. And I'm not going to go into detail, but trust me, I've had a lot of motorcycles. So don't start thinking, oh, he's got a motorcycle. He's, no, I've had a bunch of motorcycles. I love motorcycles. I used to. So I'm standing there talking to this guy about the bike. And it's hot. And I'm remembering riding a motorcycle. Dale, you've had a couple, 3 bikes, haven't you?
I had two different ones, yeah.
And, it's hot. And when you stop in traffic, the pavement is baking you. The
engine heat's coming up on you.
And you're wearing leather because, eventually you're gonna drop the bike or you're gonna slide.
It's not it's when.
Right. So you leather up just because it's what you do. It was hot and it was gross. And then I remember there are times when it's really, really cold and then it rains. And I realized I don't want to put up with that.
It wears you out.
What happened to me?
I don't know. Riding a motorcycle wears you out. We would go, a couple of guys from church, we would go riding. And by the end of you stop, eat breakfast, then ride some, then eat lunch, and then go home. You're just like,
yeah. Oh, yeah. You're zapped, man. The sun and the wind and everything takes it out of you.
Holding it up and looking out for cars. It makes you tense, shoulders tense. And,
I mean, eventually you get to the point where you can relax, but you shouldn't ever be so relaxed that you're not cautious. You're not, My brother used to tell me the way you survive on a motorcycle is pretend that every car out there is out to kill you.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's kind of true. This trip that we took to Sturgis, right? Now, we're leaving from Florida, grew up in Florida, so I understand the importance of sunscreen. I got it. So I have SPF 50, right? It's basically tar.
Because they didn't make 100 back then.
No. And so I got SPF 50 and I have got it everywhere. I am coated in sunscreen. And so we're out for a couple days and we're fine. I mean, getting a little brown, but not burning. We got to some little podunk town, and the closer you get to Sturgis, the more motorcycles start to pair up with you, and you're kind of riding in packs. So we stopped at this gas station, and this guy, he was red. I mean, he was cooked. And he came in, and he was asking for some kind of a cooling spray or something. He's like, man, you guys got anything? And I had an extra bottle of this sunscreen. I said, here. I said, here, you can have this. And he goes, no, man, SPF, that stuff, sunblock doesn't work, man. That's baloney. That doesn't work. I don't use that. And I said, okay, look at me. Okay, look at me. I've been on the road for 3 days. 3 days. I'm not burned, brother. I am not one gigantic festering blister like you. I'm good, and it's because of this stuff. He put a big old handful, and he just smeared it all over his face. He was just like, and I swear I could hear the sizzle. I could hear this. He's like, oh. That really feels good. I said, yeah, he said, he started to give the bottle back. I said, keep the bottle. I said, just put it everywhere, man, and you'll be okay. But it's like, that's the sun. And it just made me realize I don't want to do that anymore. I do want to do that motorcycle trip. But
how about a short one? Make it a short one or something,
Yeah. You know what I mean? There's still something about wanting to do.
Yeah.
So other than you haven't shared anything. What do you want to do? You got to do something. You got to have something to look forward to in this life. You got to have something to look forward to, even if it's like a weekend away. You got to do something.
I think it's useless. I've gotten old, Seth. It's like now every meal's an adventure. Like these, trying new restaurants. That's my adventure now.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong. Do you cook?
Yeah. Of course I do. Yeah, I do. I've always wanted to go get that book by Guy Fieri, the drive-ins, diners, and dives, and do a foodcation and go to all these places that he's been to.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
No, let's do it. I'm serious.
No, I do, yeah.
I didn't even know he had a book. Here's what I do. When we go to a new town, when we travel, I get on my phone and I look for restaurants. I've got an app called TV Restaurants or TV Food or whatever. And I look for restaurants that he's been to and highlighted.
Yeah.
And I try and go there. Most of the time, they're excellent. There's been a couple times like, really?
Where's Flavortown?
Yeah, Flavortown moved. Flavortown has left, and Crapville has come in, and it's terrible. We took a trip to Virginia Beach several weeks back, and on the way there is a restaurant on the highway that's got this big sign that says, "As seen on diners, drive-ins, and dives." And I wanted to stop, but we didn't. But let's do that.
Yeah, let's do it.
We start from here. We start from Virginia.
I don't know. We'll have to figure it out, or meet in a neutral place.
Okay.
And yeah.
All right. Well, see, this is where it all breaks down. All right. This is where it breaks down. We have great ideas. Let's do
where
this.
Where life gets in the way, man. It's like you're busy and I'm busy. And
all right. Let me call the office and see when I can get some time off. And let me check the bank. No, got to make the tuition payment for the kid this month. So I got no money. I can't do that. So, and that's where we get. But there's got to be things that we do that we look forward to. That's the key to a happy life, I think.
Whether it's eating or seeing a movie, whatever it could be, right?
Why not do both? Why not?
Yeah.
Remember there was a
Godfather. Did we see the Godfather movies and have Italian one day?
Oh,
we watched all
yeah. We did that at my house.
Yeah.
Everybody came over. Everybody brought some kind of Italian food. We watched all three Godfathers back to back, which, after you've seen the first two, you're like, okay, it's been almost 8 hours of movies. Can we? No. We got to watch the third one. It's like, do we? Yeah.
To me in The Godfather, the best speechless scene is James Caan, Sonny Corleone going.
I know when
mad.
when his wife, his sister, when his sister gets beaten up by her husband, he finds out about it. That red, and he goes off, and that's when, of course, Sonny died. Oh, spoiler alert! This is when Sonny gets shot and killed at the toll booth. So if you haven't seen the movies, why haven't you?
Well, yeah.
But what was I saying? See, this is another thing of being old.
We go off on tangents.
We go off.
Holly gets us back on untangent.
Well, Holly, yeah, and see, getting back into how we got into radio, Dale and I became friends. We circled back now after 30 minutes. We got into radio. We started doing this, and it in all honesty, we were just doing little part-time gigs for this tiny radio station in Auburndale, and Dale came up with the idea, why don't we do the morning show? Why don't we just take it over? And I hadn't even given that a thought. It's like, what are you talking about? Take it over? Are you nuts? We can't do that. We started talking about it. We came up with a plan, and that's exactly what we did. And I've never stopped doing morning radio. I've done it ever since.
Now, the first radio I did with you was not good at all. Not because it was you, not your part, but you were doing a financial talk show, and you wanted to add some humor, or try to add some humor to it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I tried radio. I always wanted to try radio, and I did it, and it was horrible,
I wouldn't say it was horrible. I had a 30-minute, once-a-week financial talk show called Your Money and Your Life, which one of the co-hosts or the people that worked at the station kept introducing it as, and now Seth Mila with Your Life or Your Money. No, Your Money or Your Life. It's like, it's not your money or your life, jackass. It's your money and your life. It was how to take them both. But he just enjoyed busting my chops. And we started doing it there, but we had no clue. Nobody told us what you were supposed to do and not supposed to do in radio.
But you learned all the you learned the board and the stuff really quick.
You know why?
Very fast learner.
There was a young man named Justin. Justin was our board op. He's the one that ran all the, you've seen pictures of radio station, and they got this huge board with all these sliders and buttons, and it's very intimidating if you don't know what it does. Mm-hmm. And we would come in to record the show. Justin was the engineer. He was the board op. He would run everything, let us know when our time was up, usually by just going, "You're done," and turning it off. But one day came in to do the show, and he's like, "I don't want to do this anymore. I quit," and he left. And I was like a minute before my show went on, and it was live, right? Not pre-recorded, live. So I had to learn. I just started, learning how to do this, that, and the other thing. There was another person there, Professor Scott, as we named him. He helped me learn a little bit. Yeah. So it was trial by fire. You just had to get in there and learn. But Dale took to it like water. It's interesting because there's a lot of people that get started in radio, and when you turn that mic on and you know that you're talking to, I don't know, a few 100,000 people at one time, they get so weirded out. Mm-hmm. Dale and I was like, "Oh, this nothing." It was like it just clicked. It just absolutely clicked. I'm sorry, are your Hot Pockets done? Is that what the bell was? I heard. I don't
have a bell. No,
you don't have a bell.
No, that must be your house.
No, it's not. Maybe I don't think so.
I don't have a bell.
I don't have Hot Pockets. I'm not. I thought that was your microwave.
I'd love to have Hot Pockets though.
No,
that sounds good.
Does it?
I would eat them right now.
So, all right. So there it is. I think the conclusion to today's show is have something to look forward to. Like the best podcast on the planet. You want to, you want to look forward to this. You want to tune in and hear two old farts talking about how they started in radio and have. Did we accomplish anything with this program?
No, we didn't get to finish telling the radio story. Maybe we'll have to finish it sometime.
What was the rest of the radio story? What's there to tell?
Well, that station was sold, and I never thought I'd get to do radio again. And then
I forgot about that.
Then you got a job at the one that had 4 radio stations, and I started coming in free, and then they hired me.
And you still work there.
Yeah.
For one of their radio stations.
Yeah.
I worked there for 4 years?
Mm-hmm.
4 years, then moved to Wisconsin. Don't ever do that. Don't.
No, but you did very good radio-wise in Wisconsin because
it was a good show. Yeah.
There's not a you knew what to take out there radio-wise because there's not a lot of people that do good radio out there. I don't think.
Thank you. That's very, very nice. It was a good stint. We won a couple of awards out there. Yeah, it was a good show. We had some fun. The weather, though, is what killed me. Winter, being in Florida, anytime it's 40 degrees, that's winter. Okay? That's winter. In Wisconsin, it hits 40 degrees on a regular basis starting in, I don't know, October. Yeah. November. By the first week of November, you have your first real snow where it stays on the ground. And then it thaws out around late April. And I'm not exaggerating. It's like 6 months of winter. I can't do that. One time in April, I was talking to you and you went, "Oh, the snow's gone," and people out wearing shorts and tank tops and bathing suits. Next day, blizzard. Yep. Yeah. There was one time, it was like mid-May, I was getting ready to go to Chicago for a weekend. And the weather was gorgeous. It was perfect, right? Go to bed, get up the next morning for a nice early drive down to Chicago, walk outside. There had been an ice storm. There was a 1/4 inch of ice on everything. There goes the trip. Because you with an ice storm, you don't go anywhere until it all melts off. Anyway, all right. So maybe we'll continue on. Once we got into that radio station, that group of radio stations where Dale still works, that's when Holly joined us and began to rein in a little bit of the ADD that clearly Dale and I are both riddled with.
You don't have ADD, I do.
I don't know, man. I've wondered sometimes because I'm not kidding. Today, here's a great example of why I think maybe I do. Okay, today was my daughter's first day back at school. And so we're having a conversation, and as we're pulling into where the neighborhood is, I said, "Oh, I want to stop and get the mail. We've got mail kiosk out by the road. I want to stop and get the mail." "Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. She's expecting something to come in the mail." I literally just finished saying that and drove right by the kiosk. I just kept going, and Madison's like, "I thought we were going to get the mail." I'm like, "You're right." Boom, put it in reverse, go back to the thing. I can't tell you how many times I've done that, been in the middle of like going from one room to the next.
Well,
what am I doing in this room? Why did I come in here?
Yeah, mine's getting worse. I'm forgetting people's names that I associate with every day. I'm like, forget. It's like,
okay, is it because you don't care?
Maybe, yeah, maybe that's it.
They're working in Wisconsin. There were 5 radio stations in the building, 5 of us in one building, and I'm telling you, I knew the names of like 5 people, and they were the people that I dealt with every day. Somebody said, "Hey, you need to give this to so and so, who's the manager of that radio station." I said, "I don't know who that is." They said, "What are you talking about?" I said, I don't know who is it? Where is it?" "He's in the office next to yours." "Oh, that's his name." "Oh, yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, I'll go." I had no clue, but I am too. When it comes, if we're talking about things on the fly, there are times when I know I want to say like Gene Hackman or Anthony Perkins or Anthony Hopkins, Anthony Perkins, Anthony Hopkins. I know that I'm going to want to say their name, and my brain goes, "We're not going to cooperate."
Yeah.
It's like, no. In a second, I'm talking, and in a second, I need to say the name of, and my brain's like,
Yul Brynner.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, no, we're not going to remember his name. I can put his picture, his face right in front of your eyes mentally. You can look right at him, but we're going to put the name under the button. Nope. We're not going to do that. Sorry. Not available at this time. That annoys me.
Glad I'm not the only one, because I thought I was starting to get little absent-minded and stuff.
Which one of us are older?
Where's your birthday?
Should we say this publicly?
No, well, you don't have to say. Well, like, you were born at
the end of May.
Mine's in September. 66.
So I'm older by like 4 months.
You old codger.
That's why my hair is gray and yours isn't?
I don't dye my hair, man. Look. This I do right here. That right? I got a patch of look right here. See?
The only thing you dye is a little patch on your chin.
No, right here, man. But it's not the same color. Why are you making me do this on a podcast?
Because I figured I could. I don't believe
my
you.
Hair. I would not dye my hair.
I don't believe you.
I don't dye my hair.
It's really annoying me that
there's gray hair in here, dude.
Oh yeah.
Did your mom and dad have gray hair?
Yeah, mom's hair was like really, really gray. Probably in my age when she probably went really gray in her 40s, and she was totally gray by the time she was my age.
See, my mom was half Cherokee, so her hair went gray early. But my dad, his hair. He was 72 when he died, and he still had like brown hair.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, this is why I hate you. Because you don't look. You know,
my dad dyed his eyebrows too one time, and we laughed at him. But hey,
okay, all right.
I don't hardly have eyebrows. See,
oh, you do. Okay,
I got it from him, and he dyed his one time. They look so funny.
I think I remember that. I think I saw you, and I'm like, "What have you done?"
No, not me. My dad.
No, I think you did. I think you did.
No, don't think I would. But you have done it, though.
Oh, yeah, I did. When I was in
for radio, you have to.
When it started to get really, really gray when we were working at that radio station, that group that you're saying, I started dyeing it. I even went so far as to put highlights in it because we were doing a lot of appearances, and I just thought that was what I had to do. And
you should do it again just for fun.
No,
by the next podcast, have it.
I don't
Not
think
going to hurt nothing. Come
no,
on.
I just don't want to. I just don't want to do that anymore. When I came here to Virginia, I stopped. I just said, you know what? I'm going to see how bad could it be. And I just said, you know what? Forget it. My beard is white. It's white, and so
mine gets white here and right here on my chin here.
All right.
It looks bad.
So today's podcast brought to you by Just for Men.
Yeah, I used to what color? Natural dark brown.
Yeah,
no, light brown.
Light brown, which is not light
just
brown.
Here.
Okay,
just
sure. All right.
If you saw me in person, you can see there's a difference in. There's a slight difference in color.
Sure, I completely believe you because you're not using the same tube up here as you do down here.
Well, you got to use two different boxes. I only used the beard box.
It's always been my theory. All right, so we're done. We're done reminiscing. We've gone down the rabbit trail as much as we can. Hey, thank you for enduring this. Thank you for letting two guys just get together and ramble. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you hadn't, tune in next time. The next episode, we'll all be back together.
Yeah.
And we'll do something meaningful and we'll do something deep or maybe not. If you have sex, did I just, I meant to say if you have suggestions that you would like to send to us.
Please keep this in. Please keep it in.
If you have suggestions of something you'd like us to talk about, send it to us at sethmilamedia@gmail.com.
He's been up since 4 o'clock this morning.
3. Been up since 3.
Yeah. I've been up since 4.
And yes, I'm surprised that something like that hasn't happened before now. And this is where the radio show would go completely off the rails because my mind is starting to make jokes. My mind is starting to run off of that. A couple of them involve Jerry Falwell Jr., which shouldn't be mentioned in my line of work. Anyway, thank you very much for being a part of the show. And we look forward to doing the next one for you. Take care. Have a great rest of your whenever it is. We'll see you on the next podcast. It's the best podcast on the planet, by the way. Take care. See ya.